Good afternoon, everybody. This is Bill from Edgefield Farm, and I thought I'd talk a little bit today about an unusual thing that I've got going on here. These are a whole bunch of different classes of sheep grazing in really mature, rank grass that hasn't been touched yet this year. We're here on what's today, July 12th, I think. So this hasn't been grazed yet or clipped yet or anything. None of my pastures have been clipped this year yet. So I have a bunch of different kinds of sheep in here. I've got a group of feeder lambs that were born in the winter, back in February and March. They're the hair sheep with the long tails that you'll see every now and then. I have my breeding ewes. There's only a half dozen of them, and the 9 lambs that they had in May. And then I have half a dozen of last year's lambs, the yearlings, that are not bred, that were not bred. So they're just finishing out their growing at this stage. So far, these guys are doing really well on this kind of grass. I've been not pushing them to clean anything up. I was for a while getting a fairly decent trampling effect from the animal traffic as the grass has gotten more mature and more lignified and a little bit dried out from the drought. That's kind of not happening so much. These guys were just moved onto this paddock about probably 15-20 minutes ago, and before that they were on the other side of this fence that I'm walking towards. Trying not to shake the camera too much. Also trying not to trip and break my neck, because that would be a drag. So this guy that I'm walking towards here, just looked up, that's one of the Mayborn lambs. I think he's the best of the bunch. He's probably 55 pounds now, growing like a weed. His mother's getting pretty skinny, but nothing that we can't fix when he's weaned and she starts to back off on her milk production and put some weight back on her own self. So anyways, this is what the pasture looks like when we come off of it. If you look down there, I think you can see there's still a fair bit of leaf left behind. I'm not trying to get every last mouthful out of here. I'm just trying to get the sheep to get a good belly full of good quality stuff. Let them be a little bit selective at this stage. And yeah, so I'm just waiting for them to, do their thing. And I'm moving them every day to a new pasture or, new section, using this portable fence. So that's what we're trying. So far they're doing pretty well. As I mentioned, the ewes are getting a little skinny. The Mayborn lambs are growing really well. So the ewes are still milking, even though they're losing some body condition. The feeder lambs are gaining really well, for considering it's a 100% grass-fed situation. They're getting no grain. I'm still seeing average gains across the group of 0.3 to 0.4 of a pound per day. Some exceptional individuals are crowding a half, or actually over a half a pound a day. We'll be weighing them again here in a couple of weeks and see if they're still keeping that rate of gain up. But so far so good. The yearlings are gaining more slowly, obviously, but they are gaining. And I think this is something that works out pretty well. If I had followed the normal procedure, which would have been to, mow this down a month or so ago because I wasn't going to get to it before it seeded out, I probably wouldn't have anything to graze right now because we've had very little rain. We're in a moderate drought condition, even though we have had a couple of big dumps of rain recently. We still have very poor forage regrowth. Starting to see it come back again. We had a huge downpour last week. We got 4 inches of rain, or 3.8 inches of rain, I should say, to be accurate, in about 90 minutes. So not very much of that soaked in, but some did. And then yesterday, Tropical Storm Faye brushed by us to the west, and that gave us just about half an inch of rain. Both of those events have helped a lot, and I'm starting to see things green up where we've grazed earlier that hadn't really been showing any regrowth at all. So now I'm looking ahead to where we're going to be going next. Down into the bottom part of this field, and then back behind those trees there's a little bit of sort of silvo pasture that we'll go into again. Basically I save that for the hottest days of the year. I have little bits of that different places around the farm. I try to make sure that if it's going to be over 90 degrees that we're in there at least one or 2 days, and I always try to make sure they have shade in every paddock when it's going to be hot. So right now their shade is up there under those trees that we're looking at now. They can get in up underneath there, and there's an old stone wall up in there that we're trying to clear out a little bit, push back the edges of the field a little bit. So that's what we're doing. Have a good day.